Okay. Yeah, then there we go. Okay, I'll introduce myself first. My name is Michel Pauw. I am from the Netherlands in Europe. I have studied classical languages and theology at Leiden University in the Netherlands. And after my studies, I have been a teacher in classics for about 10 years. And after that, we joined Wycliffe Bible Translators to serve in the area of Bible translation in Papua New Guinea. I'm currently working in Papua New Guinea as the academic dean of the school where we train local Bible translators. And besides that, I work as a translation advisor for the Aramba Translation Project in the southwest of Papua New Guinea. And in my free time, I'm an affiliate of Logos and an international Logos coach. And that means that like when I do webinars like this, I sell packages and I get some revenue out of that. And I use that revenue to support my ministry in Bible translation. So that's a win-win situation. So that's a little bit of a background of me. And this is my family, my wife Erna, and we have 5 children, aged 16. Oh no, that's not true. 17 to 6 years old. And if you ask me, hey, in a nutshell, what is the benefit of Logos Bible software to you? Then my suggestion is 2 things. You want to invest in Logos if you want to save time in the first place, and if you want to create more depth of your studies. And I hope to demonstrate that in this webinar. To be a little bit more specific and more concrete, what concrete benefits does Logos offer me personally? I'm a Logos user since 2013. That was at a time that I prepared for Wycliffe Bible Translators. And I did have a small library on myself, but to ship that to Papua New Guinea, that costs a fortune. So I was thinking, what do I do with my books? And then a friend told me about Logos. A friend in school told me about Logos, and I was sold immediately. I decided to buy a Logos portfolio library, and I have never ever regretted that. I use Logos all days, basically, for my personal devotion, for reading books, for doing academic research, for sermon preparation, for preaching, for managing my sermons. I use Logos for writing academic research, writing academic journal papers. I use Logos for my translation work as a translator, and I use Logos as a teacher. So Logos has a very wide range of applications, and I'm going to show that. But to start with some benefits that Logos offers me is it's a software system that gives me a central and a searchable system for all my study notes. And that's not easy we should not underestimate that, because like I have been a Bible student since my teenage years, and I do remember that I made notes in notebooks, in exercise books, but where are they now? They are, I don't know if I have them. They might be stored somewhere, but it's really hard to get there. And even if I had access to those notes, it's hard to find exactly that note. I do remember, for example, that I heard a sermon on a certain parable in church. And I made a note of that because I do remember that sermon had explained that parable the best as I have ever heard. I don't have access to that note anymore, and I forgot the explanation. So with Logos, that is past time. Like with Logos, I have access to all my notes all the time, no matter which translation I use, and that's a huge benefit and blessing to me. Also, when I studied theology at Leiden University, I did not have Logos, and I remember sitting in the library, writing my papers, and doing my assignments, and then I was looking for a certain explanation of a Greek word in the New Testament, and I go to the bookshelves and I get a commentary. I open it just to find out that it says nothing about this particular Greek word. And so that was 5 minutes lost time or more. And then you grab another commentary and it does the same. Logos instead gives me only relevant information in seconds in a neat report, and I'm going to show you that. The other thing is that I have an academic library in my pocket, on my laptop, on my phone, on my tablet, and I have access to top academic biblical literature in just seconds, and that is, for me personally, such a blessing, because here in Papua New Guinea, I don't have access to any university library. And the same might apply for you guys in India. Like, once you finish your studies, what do? Like, will you have access to that nice library at your college? Probably not. And so I have a complete library in my pocket. As I said, I have a central system for preparing, writing, and managing my sermons. I can perform highly advanced Bible searches that no other free software can do. And then, yeah, Logos is a company. So Logos wants to sell packages, and they are for profit, but they are at the same time very generous, and they offer users 3 free books per month, and sometimes they really include some gems. Like, I remember once that I received expository Bible commentary on Matthew by D.A. Carson. I think it's worth $40, and I got it for free. And so Logos is a very generous company at the same time. Ultimately, Logos is very cost-saving compared to a physical library. In general, you pay about 5% of the cost of a pack, of a library, if you buy books in a package. If you buy books separately, then the price is sometimes lower, sometimes similar to what you pay on Amazon or another in a bookstore. Usually less, and it comes with more features and much more. So what am I going to do in this demonstration? I will tell a little bit about Bible study and exegesis. We will start simple and get more advanced as we go. I will demonstrate some advanced searches. I will speak about research and paper writing. I will talk about writing and managing your sermons. And at the end, there will be an explanation of the current sale that is honestly unprecedented. We have, like, in the 10 years that I am with Logos, I've never seen a sale like this before, and I will explain that at the end. And then after that, there will be time for Q&A. All right. So if at any time you have a question, please feel free to interrupt me, either preferably with audio, because I cannot look at the chat box all the time, although I will try to do that. So either the chat box or audio, ask me any question. All right, so I will stop sharing this screen, and I will now go to Logos. Could you confirm, Ivan, that you see my Logos screen?
Yeah, it's visible there.
Yeah. Okay, good. Now, I was very happy to hear that you guys are familiar with biblical studies. I love biblical studies myself, Greek and Hebrew, and I will include that in my presentation as well. So it will be a little bit more advanced than normally for a Bible school. But what we will do is we are going to on the left-hand side, you see a bar with my favorites. It's called the favorites tool. I actually use this to as a workflow through this webinar, but you can also use this favorites tool to store anything from your research. As you will find, I have saved layouts here. And let me see, I have already opened it. But as you click on each link here, it will open all the new tools that you will see. So this is a new feature in Logos 10, and I love it. It's my most used feature in Logos to organize my studies. You see here I've organized my studies on archaeology, on biblical theology, on exegesis, extra biblical literature, Hebrew studies, Greek studies, etc. So you can use Logos to organize your research. Here in the top left corner, you see the Greek New Testament open in Philemon. This is a Bible book that I recently studied with my small group. And next to that, you see the Treasury of Scripture Knowledge. This is one of my favorite tools in Logos that gives hundreds of cross-references throughout the Bible. And on the right-hand side, you see a power lookup tool. Now, maybe you're used to a study Bible or a paper study Bible, and you open your Bible and you see cross-references, and you need to navigate from one passage to another passage. But you need to flip pages to do that. Logos allows you to just simply select references, and the power lookup tool will write them out for you. So in one view, you have an overview of all the passages that are referred to in Philemon verse 2. Okay. At the bottom of the screen on the left-hand side, you see two translations, two copies of the NIV actually. The NIV is my preferred Bible in English, so I can read the Greek with the English together, and then on the right side of it you see another copy of the NIV, but now it has a target icon here, and this target icon, you can enable that from the panel menu, is send hyperlinks here. Now that means that if I click any passage, any reference in the Treasury of Scripture Knowledge, then I don't want my base text to move to the next passage. No, I want my lookup Bible, and this is what I call my lookup Bible to scroll. So I click a passage, and only my lookup Bible is moving, and I can still go back to the original text in Philemon and the English version. So that's very helpful. I think I heard a question. No? Okay. Then on the right-hand side, you see commentaries. The New International Greek Commentary on Colossians and Philemon, the New International Commentary on the New Testament, the NIV Application Commentary on Philemon, and a few other tools that I use and that I will show in a minute. And then here's my dictionary, my BDAC, Bauer, the top dictionary on the New Testament, Greek English Lexicon of the New Testament and other early Christian literature. And then on the right top corner, you see a variety of tools. I have an atlas here. I have a search panel here, another search panel. I have a notes panel, and I have the text comparison tool. So this is my basic layout, my personal basic layout. You can change that anywhere, anyhow you like. Like you can move a tool and drag it to another place. You can, I'll drag it back here. You can make it bigger. For example, you can make the panels bigger, smaller. You can increase the font size or decrease the font size. And you can make it completely personal as your personal desk. Okay. Now, one of the powerful features in Logos is that all these texts are linked together. All these resources are linked together. So if I double click on Desmios in Philemon 1, I double click, then at the bottom you see that my dictionary is opening to the lemma Desmios. Okay, and from there you can study the word in more detail. And it just takes a double click, and not only in Greek, also in English. For example, I double click on the word, I select it here, and I double click on the word peace, and BDEC opens the lemma to the lemma Irene. Okay, so that is a very powerful feature that you don't need to take a dictionary and flip pages. In an instant, you have the right meaning of any word in Greek. So I explained the TSK, the lookup Bible, the dictionary. So as you look at my Greek New Testament here, you see several colored icons. You see a purple square icon here. You see a red icon with a question mark here. You see a green heart icon here. You see a yellow icon here. And all these icons are references to my notes. So remember what I said about making notes in your studies. Where do you keep them? And how do you use them and utilize them? And do you ever use them again? Now, I use my notes all the time. And the only thing I have to do is, for example, charangar polen eskon kai paraklesin epite agapesu. The word paraklesin, for example, I can right-click and I can select the reference here. I can also select that particular word or the whole reference or the grammatical features of that word. But what I want to do now is I want to select the reference and I want to create a note. And on the right-hand side, I go to Add Note. And I just click Add Note. And I want to create a note about the Greek word paraklesis. Okay. And I give it an icon. And purple icons tell me that these are original language quotes. And I put them in a notebook, Greek Bible reading notes. And now you see that in the Greek text, this note is added, paraklesis. Okay, so here's another one. It's a Greek Bible reading note. I noticed a chiasm in verse 5, and I made a note of that. And the cool thing here is that it doesn't matter whether I study the Bible in Greek or in English, because here in English you see the same note. So all these notes, they travel from one translation to another. You can also decide to disable those notes, and now the notes are not visible. It's completely up to you. Okay. Now the question marks, they tell me these are questions that came up once I was reading the text, and I haven't found time yet to research it in more detail. So I have a whole notebook full of questions that when I have time, I can do more research on those. There are a green heart icons, and these are focused on application. What touched me? Well, that Philemon's love has given Paul great joy and encouragement. Wow. Would that be the first thing for people to say about me? when they talk about me, that my love has given them great joy and encouragement. That's a powerful message to me. And so it has a green icon. So all these icons are stored in the database of Logos, and they are synchronized throughout your devices, through your phone, your iPad, or your tablet, the web app, and your laptop, and you have access to those notes always and everywhere where you are. And you can access the notes from the tool menu. There's the notes tool, and I have organized all my notes neatly in separate notebooks. My Bible reading notes, my Bible reading questions, my Bible application notes. Here below, there are my Greek Bible reading notes and my Greek Bible reading questions, Greek word studies, Greek meditation verses. So you can organize your notes the way you want. Yeah, you can very much personalize your Logos Bible software. Okay. Now imagine that we are studying a Philemon, and Philemon is addressing a slave owner from Colossae. And so let's see if we can find some geographical information about that's relevant to Philemon. So I open the map tool and I type in Philemon, and it gives me two options. I can search for the man Philemon or for the book. I want to do the book, and then it gives me two options. And here it says Paul writes to Philemon while in prison. Oh, well, let me click that one. And now Logos gives to me a map with several lines. And you see that the orange line is a possible route of Paul's letter to Philemon from Ephesus to Colossae. Another green one from Caesarea, and another possible route from Rome. So these are the three options that people give about where did Paul write his letter. And if you zoom in, as you zoom in, they're close to Laodicea is Colossae. And you want to find more information, you just click that place name and you open the fact book. And now the fact book is opening here below in my next to my commentaries, and I can study anything about Colossae. Now Logos is now pulling information from my library, and here it applies, of course, like the more books you have in your library, the more information Logos will find and present to you. So here's the exhaustive dictionary of Bible names. I can click read more, and it opens up the dictionary. Well, this is very brief. Okay, so let us see if we can find more information. Biblical information. The Lexham Bible Dictionary has a large article on the city, and you can always click more, and Logos will give you the full article. Okay. Other dictionaries are available here. You can search your library, in your journals, your sermons, the bookstore for information about Colossae, and you can have some theological insights. Take key passages from the Bible, journals. Okay, so the fact book is for many people a starting point for study. You can search for anything. You can search for let's say the fire in Rome, for example. When let me see, fire, Rome. Nero. Reign of Nero in Rome. I think see events. Okay, well, that's, I don't know. I have found it before. Let's say Martin Luther. You can search church history, Martin Luther, the founder of the German Reformation, and it opens up lots of information about Martin Luther. Let's just see Bangalore. I don't know. No, Mangalore. India. India Evangelical Lutheran Church. I don't know. You can search. You can search for that. You can search anything that you want, and depending on your library, Logos will return information to you. Okay, now we go to searching. So for example, here's a search. I was studying Philemon, and in Philemon, I read that Paul had heard about their love and their faith in Jesus and their love for the holy people. That's the chiasm that I referred to earlier. So I want to search for those two words, agape, and I can either type in Greek, agape, and then Logos gives me the lemma, and Logos gives me the syntax automatically, so you don't need to worry about what you have to type exactly. Just type in the Greek word, or even in English, agape. And then here below is the lemma, agape. Okay, so I will search for that. And I will search for hagios. Hagios. And now Logos is searching for those lemmas, and it compares the NIV with the Nestle Aland 28. And here we see in Philemon, and also in Hebrews 6, he will not forget your work and the love you have shown to him as you have helped his people, his holy ones. Colossians, we see of the love you have for all God's people. So you can do advanced Greek searches. Another search that I really like is a search by people. Now, many free Bible software programs, they can search for names. For example, Jesus and Peter. So here's what I did. This is what many programs can do. You search for Jesus and Peter, and you will find all the verses where the name Peter and Jesus occur together. But it does not show me any places where Peter is referred to with another word, either with his other name Simon, or with a pronoun he. So instead of searching for Jesus and Peter, I now search for Jesus, and I select from the drop-down menu, I select Jesus man, and Peter, and I select Peter here. And now you see that, for example, Matthew 4, verse 19 is included. Come, follow me, Jesus said, and I will send you out to fish for people. Now, we have no idea who Jesus is talking to based on the names used in this verse. But Logos has tagged all the people in the Bible. And so Logos knows that this is addressing Peter among other people as well. Yeah. So at once they left their nets and followed him. That is, Peter is included. Now, I don't know about any other software that can do such a powerful searches. Another one is I want to search for all the places where Jesus is addressing Peter, speaking to him. So, for example, this one, Matthew 4, verse 20, Jesus is not talking to him. So I type in speaker, Jesus, and addressee, Peter. Okay? And this is very powerful. Now Logos gives me an overview of all the texts in the New Testament that Jesus spoke to Peter. And I have given an assignment to academic students, like, you take the result of this search, and you know for sure that this is what Peter has heard from Jesus's mouth. And now you go to 1st and 2nd Peter, his epistles, and you compare what you read in those epistles to what Jesus has said to Peter. Is that anyhow reflected? Is anyhow reflected what Jesus said to Peter in his writings? And that might bear on the authenticity of the epistles of Peter. So that's a very nice exegetical assignment. If you are really into Greek, you can, and I'll make this bigger, open it in a floating window. You can make a template. What you see here is I want to search for an article followed by a noun, followed by an article that agrees with the words before, followed by an article and a noun in Greek. So you can specify the case, you can specify the number, the gender, the voice of a verb or the tense of a verb. You can decide which items need to agree with each other, and then you run a search. And now Logos gives me all instances where we read ton patera humon, ton en tois uranoi. So these are all adjectival phrases that follow a noun while repeating the article. Yeah, so you can use Logos for syntax searches, for clause searches, for morphological searches. So when I did my thesis on in classics, I studied the difference between the imperatives present tense and the aorist tense or the aorist aspect imperatives in the New Testament. And Logos has helped me so much in identifying the usage of those imperatives. Okay. I already talked about my notes here. We have the text comparison tool, where you can compare the text against several different translations. Well, if verse 1 is not very interesting, but as you go down and look at verse 6, then you see that translations differ quite a bit. I pray that the fellowship of your faith, the communication of thy faith, the sharing of your faith, your partnership with us. I'm praying that you will put into action the generosity that comes from your faith. So Logos gives me in an overview different translations, and you can compare them to see, hey, where are some exegetical issues that I need to work out? And you can select which translations to use. I have a lot here, from literal to free. You can also choose your 5 favorite versions, of course. Yeah, and so this is only the basics. This is my basic Bible study layout, and I'm not even talking about doing thorough exegesis. I'll go to that in the next step, but I want to give you the opportunity to ask any questions about what I've shared so far. Are there any questions? No? If there are no questions, then we move on to the next one.
But this power lookup, I just want to ask you this. So how do you connect again? This still new to me, the power lookup and the Greek New Testament.
Oh, yeah, okay.
You have to create hyperlinks or something?
Yeah, so the first thing you do is you open the power lookup tool, and now it is here. And what I do is I just select the passage. Let me see. Okay, and in the lookup tool, you make sure you can either follow, you can either select link set F. For example, I have the TSK with the link set F. So they are connected, linked together through the panel here, link set. And now it only follows the treasury of scripture knowledge. Okay, here. But if you choose follow, then it will follow anything. So now I'm going to select this passage from the Nestle Aland, and you see that it will write out all the footnotes, all the references from my critical apparatus. That's very helpful for text critical studies. Okay.
Nice.
All right. So I'm going to the next one, and now let's now imagine that we are going to do an exegesis on the book of Philemon. So this takes a little bit of time because I have saved my Bible study layout, and I'm now replacing basically my desktop by another desktop. So if I click in my favorites, if I click this link, Bible Study Philemon, it takes me back to what I just left. So you can save hundreds of different layouts and go back to them at any time. So what you see here is, again, we have the NIV translation about Philemon. We have some notes here below. And here I have a few tools that I want to demonstrate. So the first thing, when I study a Bible book, I want to study the introductory questions. So I open the fact book, and the fact book is found here, fact book, and I just drag it. All tools, you can drag it to any place where you want, and I type in Philemon. It gives me the option, okay, do you want to study the Greek word Philemon, or the epistle to Philemon, or the person Philemon? I want to study the epistle to Philemon. Okay, it gives me the text, the international version in my preferred Bible, and then let me see. I go to biblical, and now you see there is this section that says Bible Study Guide. Now the Bible Study Guide is a very powerful tool that pulls all relevant and only relevant information from your library about Philemon. Let's have a look. And it is organized by origin, background, object. Now origin has information about the authorship and the date of composition, the purpose of writing. Okay, and you see some commentaries here, and my favorite commentaries are at the top. You can tell Logos which are your favorite commentaries. If you want to see more, then you see all your commentaries showing up here. Okay, but let's just open up my my top commentary about authorship, and I'll drag it down to here below, and you can read what Bruce says about the authorship of the letter of Philemon. Boom! It does not take you any time, and you know where to go for the introductory questions. You go to the fact book, you go to biblical, and then the Bible book guide. How about the background? What's the historical context of the book? And there are again some results from my library. And again, depending on your library, you have 1 or 2 or 3 or 6 titles, but that depends on the size of your library. But the nice thing about Logos is that Logos has everything looked up for you, so it collected for you. And so it saves you a lot of time. You can go to the recipients, location. You can study the form criticism. You can study the book in its canonical relationship, the authenticity, etc., etc. So the fact book again is a place where you can start your studies, your exegesis. From there, I move on to the passage guide. Again, it's in the menu here, guides, and you open the passage guide here, and you type in Philemon. You can type in the book Philemon, and now Logos has collected tons of relevant information about Philemon, and it gives me a report here. Now this report is very long because I want to have all the information in my report. If it is too much, you go to add here, and you see everything that's grayed out is included in the report. You can add more things to your report, or you can just say, okay, collections, IVP, dictionary, I don't want that, so I take it out. Collections, favorite, I take it out, I delete it. But here I have my commentaries, and I have grouped my commentaries together by type. So I have textual commentaries that focus a lot on textual criticism. I have technical commentaries, top technical commentaries, such as the Word Biblical Commentary, the New International Commentary to the New Testament. I have my best commentary, best ranking commentaries here. And so this is kind of a workflow to me. Like I go from exegesis. Imagine that I'm preparing a sermon, and I start with a thorough exegesis, and I come across a really like a word in Philemon, a Greek word. And I want to know encouragement, for example. How is that word used? And so I can look up what my commentaries say about it, but I will limit my search to the technical commentaries because I have a technical question. But when I want to know more about the Bible background, like the sociological background, the historical background of the book, I select my background commentaries. Okay, Lexion Geographical Commentary, the IVP Bible Background Commentary. So it does not happen that I open a commentary and I find out it doesn't say anything about what I want to find. Yeah, so Logos presents everything in a very neat report. Okay, now one of the cool features in the passage guide is, let me limit Philemon to Philemon verse 7. And now I go to lemma in passage. Lemma in passage is one of my most favorite tools in Logos, because it allows you to look up any Greek word here, any lemma, and I'm interested in paraklesis, and I want to see what commentaries have to say about this one. And this has happened so many times when I studied theology. I was looking for a word, and I opened a commentary just to find out that it said nothing about that Greek word. That doesn't happen to me anymore, because I just opened this one, and there are 8 commentaries that say something about the word paraklesis. So let me open the International Critical Commentary. Let me open up this one. And it opens up to verse 7 here, and it says, paraklesis is derived from the verb parakaleo, which occurs in verse 9 and 10, and has a range of meanings. Okay, good. But this is what I want. I am very focused in my studies. I know exactly what I want to do and where I can find it in my passage guide. And I will not be able to explain everything here, but one thing that I want to point out is, and I think I'm going to broaden this to Philemon again. So did you see my ancient literature is now more than when I focused on verse 7 only. Verse 7 only, Logos has given me only those references to the apostolic fathers, to the church fathers that are relevant to Philemon verse 7, not verse 6, not verse 5, but Philemon verse 7. But I want to see a few more because I have a nice example. And here I find a reference to first Clement. And I can click it, I can hover over it, or I can click it, or I can use the power lookup tool. But here he's talking about Paul, and he says, after that, he had been 7 times in bonds. Oh, we didn't know that. The Bible only speaks about 3 places where Paul was imprisoned. He was imprisoned in Caesarea, very shortly in Jerusalem, but then Ephesus and Rome. But Clement knows that Paul has been in prison more often. Okay, so I want to include that in my exegetical paper. Okay, so ancient literature, very, very useful information. And Logos categorizes, sorts the information by allusion, echo, a topical similarity, a lexical similarity, quotations, allusions, topical. Again, it refers to the Dead Sea Scrolls, Judaica, the Talmud, and the Midrashim, Old Testament pseudepigrapha, works of Josephus, works of Philo. So a lot of interesting information if you want to study it. Like, you can choose not to include this, and then you can click the X and it will not appear in your passage guide. But if you're interested in church history, if you're interested in the Apostolic Fathers and the contemporaneous literature of the New Testament, this is a very powerful feature. You can study biblical people. Who are the people that are mentioned in Philemon? Now, it is taking a little bit of time because Logos is pulling a lot of information about Philemon, about Paul, about Onesimus, and other people here. Yeah, and it shows maps, and it shows infographics. Here's an infographic of the life of Paul, etc., etc. Okay, grammars. When I studied theology and I studied the Greek text, I always looked at the grammar to see, are there any grammatical peculiarities in this text. So I can choose, am I interested in morphology, is syntax, or exegesis? I'm interested in grammar aspects that bear on the exegesis of a text, or morphology, okay, and or syntax, word order. Oh, okay. Hey, do you see that? There's this chiasm that I found in the Greek text. So let me open up this this example from my favorite Greek grammar. And it tells me that there's a literary pattern. Chiasm is not common in the New Testament. Well, that's something that I disagree with. But anyway, it points out that there is a chiasm here. Ten agapen, kai ten pistin, proston kyrion, kai eis pantas, tus hagius. So the love is addressing the holy people from the outside, and from the inside, the pistis, the faith, is focused on the Lord Jesus. So you can use this grammar, like, and this is just the first example, and I have already created a note here in where is it? Here, and this is all from my passage guide. Okay, so you can directly write a note with what you find in this grammar. For example, you can even copy a text. I now press Ctrl+C, I copy it, and I go to verse 5, and I create a note, add a note, and I paste it, and Logos gives me the reference to the Greek grammar. And if I click that reference, it will take me to that grammar automatically. So again, all the resources are linked together, giving you a seamless workflow. Okay, I will delete this note because I don't want to keep it. Delete this note. Okay, the passage guide, grammars, I can share a lot more. Let me focus only on systematic theologies. Well, especially when I preach a sermon, I start with the text, I do exegesis, but then I also want to reflect on the passage theologically, like dogmatically. How does this the points of my sermon, how do I get them from the text, but also how do they fit in my wider dogmatic system? And so, for example, as we look at the Christology of Philemon, Logos pulls from my library all systematic theological information, and it organizes them by denomination. So I don't know what your denomination is, but here's information from my Baptist resources, Methodist resources, Reformed resources. Okay. You can also organize them by books. You say, okay, Lutheran books or Anglican books or Baptist books, and then you can expand it and find more information. So many ways to get your information. From the passage guide, we are going to a workflow. I said that I use the passage guide pretty much as my workflow, but there are also tools in Logos that allow you to use an existing workflow or make your own workflow for your own exegesis. And you will find them on the guides. Oops, next one. And you see all kinds of predefined workflows. Basic Bible study workflow. You see a Bible study, a biblical person study, biblical place study, a devotional. You see an expository sermon preparation workflow, inductive Bible study, a passage exegesis, and I've opened up that one. So what you do is you click it and you type out Philemon. I'm going to do an exegesis on Philemon. Okay. And now it gives you a workflow with all the steps that you want to take to do a thorough exegesis. You read a passage multiple times in your favorite translation or in other translations, and you make your notes. You make what do you observe? And you type in your notes, and they are stored. Okay, then you continue to the next step. Read the passage in different versions, and you can use the Compare Bible version tool. And now it opens Philemon in 5 or 6 different translations. You continue. You explore the larger context. Okay, it tells you what to do here. You can click more for more information and explanation. For example, examine the historical context. Use the timeline tool to explore what was going on in history. And let me see, it was written probably about maybe 50 to 60 AD. Oh, let me see. Let me search for Philemon. There we go. The letter of Philemon is written. Okay. Now I've only opened biblical studies, but you can select more information. Biblical studies. You can select. Let me see. I actually don't use the timeline a lot. So I have to find Philemon. Okay, let us narrow it down. Zoom in, zoom in. Here is 50 to 60, oops, 50 to 60 AD. Okay, and here you find other events in the timeline that relate to the writing of the book, that relate to Paul and his writing of the book of Philemon. Okay. So the workflow gives you links, hyperlinks to tools within the software. And here you see important words, lemma, koinonia. And you can search for the lemma in a certain passage, etc., etc. So workflows are very, they're parallel passages, very powerful way to streamline your research. Logos offers a large variety of commentaries. One of the commentaries that I want to highlight is the Lexham Research Commentary. You see here the Lexham Research Commentary on Philemon. Why is this such a great resource? Because it saves you a lot of time. You see there's an overview of the book. There is a little paragraph about the content of Philemon. It gives you the structure of Philemon. It discusses the place within the canon, and now it comes. It gives you issues at a glance. Now, especially when you're studying, when you're researching, and you get an assignment about Philemon, you want to know what are the academic topics in the literature. What are the topics that are being discussed in journals and in commentaries? And so these are the issues. Who are Apphia and Archippus? What does the fellowship of your faith mean? Remember that I pointed it out. We were comparing translations in verse 6, and that was translated differently. So people have different opinions on that. Did Paul ask Philemon to release Onesimus? And so let's go to Apphia and Archippus here. It summarizes the issue, and then it gives snippets of what other scholars have said about this issue of debate. Okay? And what it does, it gives you a very brief summary of people's standpoint. For example, here we have the Zondervan Illustrated Bible Backgrounds Commentary, and he notes that the identification of Apphia as Philemon's wife goes back to early Christian tradition, though this conclusion is not certain. Okay, here Bird argues that Apphia was the primary overseer of slaves. Okay, that's different. And so you see in a nutshell, what are the different viewpoints exegetically regarding this issue? Now, I like it that it gives you a snippet, like a summary of a certain standpoint, because here it gives you an open book and a link to the book. Now, I do have this commentary, so I can just click it and it locals takes me to a further description of this standpoint. Okay, but it also happens sometimes that I don't have a book. For example, here, here you see a lock, and so I click that one, and it takes me to, I think it takes me to a preview of the book, and it says I don't have a license, but here's a preview, and I can quickly buy it, and I have it right away. But then let me first, what's her viewpoint? So I read the summary, and I can decide, okay, I want to buy this book, or I do not want to buy this book. Okay, so this is a very, very time-saving commentary if you want to do research. Finally, your research is much enhanced if you have a collection of journals. You probably know that if you're studying like journal articles, they go in depth. Commentaries only often touch the surface, but journals are the place where really a lot of research is done. And so let me have a look. I'm going to search my books, but only my journals. Yeah. So I narrowed my library down to my journals, and I'm searching for. Let me first undo this. I search for Onesimus. Now this is way too much. I see more than 1,000 results in 400 plus articles, in almost 300 resources. There's no point in doing this. Yeah. Sometimes when you attend a webinar run by Logos employees, they will do this and focus. Oh, you see how many results you get. But I'm not interested in many results. I want to narrow my results down to relevant information. So what I do is, instead of searching everything, I want to search for heading text and large text. Because now I know that I'm searching for paragraphs that are about Onesimus. I'm not interested in random information where accidentally Onesimus was mentioned. But here, for example, Onesimus, a study in ethics. Here's a German one. Keine Sklavenflucht des Onesimus. I'm going to open this. Not, let me see. Oh, it's just an abstract, unfortunately. Okay. But you see, oh, here we have another one. Oh, that's another abstract. Yeah. So anyway, you see that you can search and very specify your searches to find the information that you want to find. You can narrow it down to Onesimus and slave, slave or slavery. And here we go. Paul Onesimus and the ethics of slavery. A defense of the runaway slave hypothesis and Philemon. Okay, good. Okay, so searching is very powerful again, but it depends also on your library. All right, I stop here for a minute to see if there are any questions. And what are your thoughts so far? Please put it in the chat or say something.
That's what you think. Yeah, for me, somehow I'm well aware of all these stuffs, even though at the service level at some point of time. But then for me, I'm not usually using this passage guide. I'm using the exegetical guide, which relates more to our studies. So because it has all the grammars and all in a particular way, and all the Greek texts, all the Hebrew texts. So I'm using, but this is new to me, using the passage guide, exegesis. It's good.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Are there any other questions? If not, yeah, if not, then I move on to the next section. Let me know in the chat box, are you interested in textual criticism at all, or should I skip that?
No, you can skip that, I think it's yeah, you can skip that.
Yeah, okay. But you can use logos
Later.
for, yeah, you can use logos for textual criticism and even study the manuscripts almost firsthand. Okay, sermon prep. Let me first do academic paper. So now I'm in the favorites, I'm clicking demo academic paper, and it looks like Logos is disappearing now, but it is collecting all my resources. Okay. Here I have a research on the Star of Bethlehem. Okay. So what you do, you of course you make notes and you want to summarize things. And let's say I open the library and I say star. I do star Bethlehem. The Star of Bethlehem. I read that book. So let me open this book. So one of the first things I want to show is that Logos allows you to highlight and to mark up your text. And I have created an academic reading palette. And that's available for free to anybody who purchase something through this webinar sale. But what you do is you go to the Star of Bethlehem book here, and imagine that you want to highlight this sentence. The only thing you need to do is to press the U, for example, here, the U. I can either click it or I can press the key U, and it underlines it. Now, this book's research has shown that the star may well have been the triple conjunction of Jupiter with Saturn. That's interesting. So I press the I of interesting, and it adds a label that it is interesting. Okay. Then by this, they would have meant that the astrological interpretation led them to believe in the birth of a new king for the Jews. Let's say I disagree with that, or I find it doubtful. I just put disagree. And or I find it nonsense. I cross it out. So I can do whatever I want with my text. And then later, when I'm going to write my paper, I'm going to the search tool, and I want to highlight, I want to search for books, and I want to, let me see, highlights. Search all text, search highlighter, highlighting academic palette here, this one. Okay. And so imagine that I was, talking about Jupiter. I'm searching for Jupiter in my highlights. Oops. Why? Oh, it's searching my journals. No, I want to search my books. Okay. And now it finds let me open this one. It finds all the instances of Jupiter in my highlighted text. And this is so powerful. I can read a whole book and then print my highlights as a summary of the book, or I can search my highlights. So that's very powerful for your academic research. Now imagine that I'm going back to the book. I actually want to delete this first. I want to keep it, the highlight. And I remove the highlight there. And I remove the highlight there. Okay. Now, imagine I have Word open. I'm writing my paper, my assignment. So I pull over Word here. And I want to copy a paragraph. And I paste it. And Logos automatically adds a footnote with a reference to the passage. Okay? So that saves a lot of time doing research, writing a paper. Yes, I want to review this later. Yeah. You can use clippings. For example, I select this passage and I have the clippings tool open. I open a new document, clippings. I give it the title Star of Bethlehem. Okay. And I add a clipping from what I have selected. Okay. Now I can, excuse me, I can tag this. This is about Jupiter. It says something about Jupiter. It says something about Saturn. It says something about Babylonian astrology, Babylonian. Okay. I can even make a note. I can type in, I disagree with this description because blah, 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 blah. Okay. I can flip it and it gives me the bibliographic info. And it doesn't matter which style, because Logos, like if you use the SBL handbook style, I don't know what style manual you use. Maybe you use the Chicago manual of style. You can select that and it will format the bibliographic reference according to your preferred style manual. Okay. And then in the end, of course, you can search. You can search for your tags. You can search for your notes. You can search for text in your clippings, etc., etc. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm looking at my watch. I want to give you time to ask more questions, but let me have a look. I think this is enough for now for research, for writing. Let's go to sermon prep. I'm going to show two more things. One is sermon prep, and the other is are a few more tools. Okay. So first of all, imagine that you want to create a new sermon. You go to tools and you click sermon builder. And I want to name it the Star of Bethlehem. Okay. Introduction. Introduction. Talk about stars in the night. Okay. Now, then I want to include another heading and say this is scripture reading. Scripture reading. And I want to read scripture from Matthew 2. Matthew 2. Okay. Matthew 2. Now, as soon as I type the reference, Logos gives me the option to insert the text as a block. Okay. And it allows me to select the translation, or I want to change this to the ESV here, boom, and it's right there in my sermon. Okay, I do a new one, new heading, and I want to talk about scientific explanations, and I have some points there. Now on the left-hand side, you see that Logos automatically generates a slide, a PowerPoint slide that you can export and use in your church if you like, and if you want to do that. Now you can type out your whole sermon here. You can say, okay, hold on. I made some notes in a certain notebook. Okay. I made notes. I did not do that now, but I made notes in my Bible reading notes. And so imagine that these notes are all your notes that you collected about this sermon. You can say, okay, insert this note. Okay, now it does not apply to my topic because I did not create these notes yet, so I delete it for now. But there are ways that you can quickly pull from your notes into your sermon. Okay, you can create a handout for a Bible discussion or a sermon discussion after the sermon with questions to discuss with the youth, for example, etc., etc. Okay, I'll skip the rest except for this. Now imagine we have finished our sermon, and then I call it a Christmas series sermon. Christmas sermon series, Christmas. It is the first in a row. Topics is the star, birth of Jesus. Select this one. The passage is Matthew 2. Okay, you can add tags. You can add the duration, the speaker, the date of. Well, let's say I prepared it for coming for Sunday in Bangalore. In Bangalore, at the time, my audience is generally adult, and so now it is saved, and I go to the sermon manager. Okay. Now I have to admit that I do not preach too often. You go to the tools and go to sermon manager. And there's a radial calendar that says here it has a sermon, the Star of Bethlehem. Okay. And or you can go to the week grid. And in June I preached one time. I will make it bigger. I'll open it in a floating window. So I preached about sickness in my translation project village. And now here's my sermon on the Star of Bethlehem. You can filter. I want to see only the sermons in Bangalore. Or you can search for topic, or you can filter for speaker or audience or Bible book. If you do this consistently, you'll quickly find what are your favorite Bible books and what are your least favorite Bible books. And it might help you to say, okay, I've never ever preached from Jude. So maybe I should preach on Jude one time. Okay. So yeah, Logos is a software that helps you prepare your sermons, write your sermons, and manage your sermons all in one. Okay, now I'm going to close this, and I have a few more topics to show you, and that is, yeah, especially for like you guys, you're not native English speakers. Do you speak Hindi, Ivan?
Yeah, we have different dialects in India. Hindi is the main
Okay.
one. Yeah, but then we
Yeah.
speak English. college.
Yeah. Right. But I'm not a native English speaker. I speak English, but sometimes I have trouble understanding something, or I don't speak French, for example, or Spanish. I do read Latin. Do you guys read Latin?
No,
No. Okay.
except the
But
biblical languages there.
right, but hold on. Here we have a commentary on John 19, verse 4 from Origin, and it's written in Latin, but you can read that. Hold your breath. I select a paragraph here. I click this sidebar and I translate it to Dutch. Here now it is translated into my language, but that doesn't help you guys. So let us select Hindi. Now I can't read this, but can you confirm that this is a proper translation, like a good readable translation?
I don't know because I myself am not good at Hindi.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think good at
Anybody
Hindi
else?
because yeah. Nobody knows. I think most of them are from South India. They will also not know, and one is from Northeast India.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But yeah, in that case, you can select English and it translates it in a second into English. Isn't that great? Yeah, so I recently had to write a book review, and the book was a collection of essays, and some essays were in two essays were in Spanish, and I don't read Spanish, and I had to review the book. So what did I do? I had the book in Logos, and I clicked the translation button, and it translated it into English to me, and I had no problem reviewing the book. So yeah, that's a pretty cool feature. Okay, another little tool. Logos has lots of interactives. You go to the tool menu here, and you type in interactive. Oh, in interactive media, it is here. Before and after, Bible Books Explorer, Commandments of the Law, Hebrew Bible Manuscript Explorer, Miracles of the Bible, Morphology Charts, etc. So this is a nice one. It is an explorer of the Bible where you can study the different types of Psalms. You can focus on the lament Psalms and order them by author. Oh, they're all by David. Or you can say, oh, how about the royal Psalms? Also all by David. Okay. How about Asaph? You click, these are the Psalms of Asaph. Okay. How are they organized? What their lament, wisdom Psalms, praise Psalms, and thanksgiving Psalm. Okay. So there is a nice little tool. You can make sentence diagrams. I open that here. This is a sentence diagram that I created of the Epistle of Jude, and you can choose to. And I haven't done that much yet, but you can say, okay, well, here's the author. You can visualize it in a better way, if you like. Etc. etc. This goes back there. So yeah, I think that's I think I would like to keep it at this, and I would like to know if there are any more questions about the software before I move on to explaining the current sale.
I think
Any
we will
questions?
need a clarification regarding because all the interactives and all are included in different data sets, right? They will not be
Sorry,
included.
I missed that. Can you say it again?
Yeah, the interactives and all these features that are there, It's not in the free version, right? It's in the paid version itself.
Right. Yeah. So there you can use logos at all different levels. You can start for free, but that does not have all the nice features that I showed, of course. For example, that will allow you to search for Jesus and Peter where the names are mentioned, but it will not allow you to search for places where Jesus is speaker and Peter is the addressee, things like that. But there is a way that you can start using logos for free. And I'll give you all the information that I have, and I want to be very honest with you about that. You go to logos.com/basic, I think. Yeah, and then you get a free app. Yeah, so you can use Logos the free way. You get a few resources for free, but not much. Like, don't expect that you can reproduce what I did with my library, because many times when I showed you, I told you like now Logos is pulling information from your library. So it's depending on your library whether you can do things or not. Okay. Give me a second. I want to check out the page. Now, unfortunately, my manager in the United States has not published my landing page online, so I have to find another way. Let me, but I will share my PowerPoint again.
You can share the landing page later, I guess, through the mails that I sent you.
Yeah, I will send that to the email, definitely. Okay. Just a second, please. Okay. I will share another screen. Can you confirm that you now see my PowerPoint?
Yeah, it's there.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So, in a nutshell, this is my offer. New users get an unprecedented 61% discount on any Logos 10 library. Existing users get a 30% off a Logos 10 package, or up to 65% discount on a Logos 10 feature upgrade. Okay. Special for participants in this webinar, if you purchase anything through this sale, you qualify for free personalized consultation. I would be very happy to talk with you about your personal needs. What's your budget? What are your needs? What would you like? What would you like Logos to do for you? How would you like to use Logos? You will get a basic free manual with power tips and tricks, and you'll get a number of things, extra things like I shared the highlighting palette, the academic highlighting palette, visual filters, and more little tools. You'll get it all for free. The sale starts now and ends on September 21st. Unfortunately, the landing page is not online yet, but I expect it to be logos.com/PAW or MPAW, MPAUW. But I will send an email with the correct links once they are online. So I have to explain one thing, and that is that this month is the last opportunity for people to purchase Logos. Logos has been a software for purchase for decades, but they are moving towards a subscription-based model. So probably starting in November, October, November, I'm not entirely sure, they will move on to a subscription-based model, meaning that you pay like $100 or $200 or $300 a year to use Logos, and then you rent Logos rather than you purchase it. And so this is the last opportunity that Logos offers to people to permanently purchase the software, and it will be yours for the rest of your life. That's also that transition to a subscription-based model is also the reason why they currently offer the craziest discount that I've ever seen. Like online, you will find a 50% discount. I'm offering a 61% discount on any Logos 10 library for new users. So let's now go to the package, because what is it that you buy? So the terms for our place your order before Saturday, the 21st, through the link that I will share in an email, use a certain coupon code, email proof of your purchase to me so that I can give you access to the free bonus materials. Yeah, but that's pretty much it. I do offer other services like a monthly Logos newsletter in which I give information about the latest deals. I have a Facebook group on Facebook with Logos recommended books, and I have a YouTube channel that I recommend you to subscribe to, because I felt very frustrated when I was looking for tutorials, because most tutorials about Logos tell me give a demonstration of the tool. But I want to know, okay, I know how the tool works, but how would I use it in real life? And my videos are about exactly that question. How do you use Logos in real life cases? So having said that, let us move on to the website of Logos. And I'll share my screen, my other screen again. So once you're on the website, can you confirm that you see the website of Logos?
Yeah, it's there.
Yeah. Okay, you go to Logos Bible Study app and you click View and compare all Logos packages. And in a nutshell, Logos, I already spoke about the free version by going to logos.com/basic. And they do sell a very small package of fundamentals for $50. This is all US dollars. And then it goes up from starter through bronze, through silver, through gold, through platinum, diamond, and portfolio. Now, the prices that you see here are the 50% discount prices. So in my sale, the price will go down with 11% more. So how do you read those packages? Now, if you click custom compare, there are probably over 100 different packages. Okay. There's a standard series. There's the academic series. There's the Anglican, Baptist, Lutheran, Reformed, Methodist, disciple packages. And so many people don't know where to start when they first look at options. My advice is for theology students, look at standard and academic in the first place. Unless you are really more a theologian than a biblical scholar, like for example, if you are a Lutheran theologian and you want to read Lutheran authors, then I advise to look at Lutheran. But usually the standard series is the most general, the most wide-ranging collection of books, focusing on biblical studies, biblical subjects, New Testament, Old Testament, etc. If you look at academic, this series, academic series, is meant for people who really want to dive into the biblical languages. So if you're into Greek and Hebrew, then I definitely recommend looking at the academic series. Okay, so for the sake of this webinar, I will now focus on standard and academic. And in general, I can say that Logos has developed starter, bronze, and silver for interested lay people. So starter is not made for professional theologians. But I would say if you are a Christian without any role in the church, a starter or bronze might be good. If you have a limited church role, maybe you are a Sunday school teacher or you are a Bible study group leader, then I would suggest to look at bronze, silver, maybe gold, but bronze and silver might suffice. If you are a student in theology and you are preparing for a professional career in theology and in biblical studies, then the gold packages and higher are made for you. That means, and we're going to compare those. I'm going to click those four. Well, let's go back here. Oops. Okay, it takes a little bit. But then you will see a list of categories of what types of books are included in that library. Okay, we already looked at the price, but you look at the commentaries. The starter has just a few commentaries. And the higher you get, the more commentaries you will see. And also the more technical and the more top ranking the commentaries will be. So for example, if you go from silver to gold, you see a leap of almost more than 100 more commentaries. And the commentaries that are added are the Holman New Testament commentary series that are $100 worth. Now you look at the price is $200 more for gold, but you get this Holman series for $100, and you get the Osborne New Testament commentary series for $250. So together $350, and that's already worth the value difference between silver and gold. And you get all the rest for free. Now, that's not nothing. You look here, a Wiley-Blackwell commentary. Wiley-Blackwell commentary is a commentary series that consists of lots of quite expensive volumes, like $41 by Anthony Thieselton, which is an New Testament expert scholar. And this commentary series discusses a passage, how it is exegeted in the course of history. So it gives you an overview of how it was interpreted in the time of the Reformation, in the time of the modern era, etc. A very valuable commentary series. Now, I think the whole series is like here, $46. I think the whole series is here, John, $164. The whole series is probably $1,000 worth. And it's included in the gold package. This is what I said like in the beginning. You pay about 5% of the price of a commentary series if you purchase a package. Now, as you go up, you see that the number of commentaries grows from 166 to 500. And from 500 to 689. And portfolio almost doubles the commentaries. And the commentaries, how I advise to look at these packages is look at the commentaries. Look at the highlights in each package. For example, the difference between gold and platinum is $300. But these are what you get for that. To start with, the New American Commentary, which is a top-ranking commentary. It's very often in the top 5 commentaries on the New Testament, on the Old Testament, worth $550, and the New Testament $400. So only these two collections are worth $900, while the difference between gold and platinum is only $300. And you get also the Pillar New Testament commentary series. You'll get the amazing wealth of exegetical information from the UBS Handbook series. Ancient Christian Commentary on Scripture. New Testament. Old Testament. You'll get Black's New Testament commentary. You'll get the Old Testament the Old Testament Bible Speaks Today, which is an Anglican commentary series. And then you go to the Diamond and you pay $700 more, but now you get the technical commentary of the New International Greek Testament commentary. And besides, you get the Lexham Research Commentary. Do you remember that I talked about the Lexham Research Commentary? Now, these are valuable volumes, $40. There's another 99, like $100. The ones on Romans, $80. So, as you consider buying a package, I do recommend you to consider, okay, hey, are you a layman? Are you a professional? If you are interested in, if you see Logos as a tool to invest, like an equipment for future usage, I highly recommend, if you have the budget, to look at gold, platinum, diamond, or portfolio, especially since the current discount has never been before, nor will it be later, because later you will need to subscribe to Logos. Now, I was now only talking about the commentaries, but there are of course, there are more books included. Bible dictionaries, devotionals of spiritual growth. Now, the Bible dictionaries, for example, here we see a major top dictionary, the Anchor Yale Bible Dictionary. Yeah, you see that those top resources, they are in the highest package, of course. But Diamond and Platinum also have a good number of Bible dictionaries that you can use in your studies. Old Testament studies, New Testament studies. I will let you look at this yourself at your own pace. You have about 7 days of time to look to see what's included. But there are also Greek texts and translations. Now you see, gold has not much regarding the Greek resources. And as you go to Platinum Diamond Portfolio, it adds more Greek grammars, Greek lexicons, etc. Now, one thing that I want to point out is that if you are interested in journals, then Diamond and Portfolio are the packages to look at. They come with hundreds of journals that you can search in your academic research. So these are the highlights, I would say, of the packages. I usually look at the commentaries. I look at the Greek, Hebrew, Latin, and other ancient languages. Other ancient languages, tools, Akkadian, Arabic, that might be too much. But okay, so I look at the ancient languages and I look at the journals. And then there is some systematic theology, biblical theology, church fathers. You remember I showed you the ancient literature tool that had Josephus and Philo, the church fathers and the apostolic fathers. If you have some of these, the apostolic fathers, it will populate in that tool. Okay. And a little bit of theology. This will be more, the sections on theology will be more if you choose a denominational package. For example, Baptist or Reformed or Lutheran, you'll get all the resources by this Reformed theologian, all the resources by that theologian. Okay. The last thing I want to show you is are the academic packages. So in the academic series, there are 4 different packages. It starts with Essentials, Standard, Premium, and Professional. And also, these are also prices, 50% prices, but my price will be 11% less. You see not many commentaries because that's not the focus of the academic series. Although I have to say that the professional series, and it's only less than $200 more, but it has the exegetical guide to the Greek New Testament. It has the continental commentary, a few. It has the evangelical exegetical, only one, let me see. It has the international critical commentary, the ICC, on the Old Testament and the New Testament. And this is a top $1,100, almost $1,200 for the Old Testament, and $1,100 for the New Testament. So only that series is already worth $2,000, and you pay $200 for it. Isn't it amazing? Like there is a lot, like basically all the packages are worth the money looking at the content. There's no package that I would say you buy it and then you regret it because of the content. The higher your budget, the more value you get and the more top resources you get. But I'm happy to discuss your personal needs at any budget, depending on your situation. The strength of the academic packages is found in the Greek sections, resources. For example, you see Nestle Aland is included in, I think, in all all 4 packages. The works of Philo in both Greek and English. Now you get the pseudepigrapha of the Old Testament in standard. You will get Codex Sinaiticus, for example, and Josephus in Greek. If you look at the grammars, then there are lots of grammars, but the lexicon that I use, the number 1 lexicon on the Greek New Testament, a BDAC, is only included in the professional, academic professional version. But remember, besides the commentary, the ICC commentary, you also get the BDAC, you also get a patristic Greek lexicon, and more Septuagint resources, Hebrew resources, the BHS with the apparatus. You get Hebrew grammars and lexicons, and this includes the most up-to-date modern dictionary of classical Hebrew, which is my favorite lexicon for Hebrew. It also includes the top 1 grammar by Juon Muraoka, the grammar of biblical Hebrew. And yeah, let me see. It also comes with the ancient, with the Talmud, for example, the Talmud, the Targums. The professional version also has the ancient Near Eastern texts. If you're interested in studying the Old Testament in particular, against their ancient Near Eastern background. It has a little bit of church fathers, apostolic fathers in Greek and English. So yeah, I think that's it. My time is up. I think it has been 12 o'clock on your end. Are there any questions? Comments, feedback?
Myself, I've learned a lot, even though there are some things which I probably know, but then I've learned some things like the highlights and all, which I didn't know before. I hope the others do, a little bit. And I think they're also working, they have schoolwork and all. So yeah. But yeah, I've learned a lot even through your YouTube channel. I came across you, Michelle, through your YouTube channel only, as I told you. So I hope in the coming months we'll be able to have some more webinars with you again.
Yeah, definitely. So what I will do after this webinar, I will wait for my manager to put the landing page online, and once that landing page is online, I will send you an email with all the information laid out, how you can access Logos at the highest discount possible that I told you about. Yeah, I just want to emphasize one more time, like, this is the last month that you can get Logos cheap, and it will be yours for the rest of your life. And probably in October or November, Logos will start a subscription-based model. Yeah, and that's just renting, like renting a house. You just throw away your money, and after a few years, it's not yours. So you, that's I regret it, but I also know they have some good reasons to do so. But yeah, again, if you want to invest in your studies, if you want to invest as a professional, if you have the budget, then this is the time to to consider a purchase. Having said that, I wish you all God's blessing on your studies. And yeah, I hope Ivan, we can stay in touch. How did we get to know each other? Was it through YouTube or through Facebook, or?
It was first through YouTube, because you were doing that webinar on academic writing, as I think a few years back.
Yeah, okay.
I got in touch with you through Facebook, but then
Yeah.
to mail, because of my library, right? I was asking suggestions about a library on languages and all.
Yeah. Excellent.
And then,
Yeah.
yes, able to get in touch and went on with this webinar.
Yeah. Nice. Excellent. Thank you so much for joining us, and have a great day.
Yeah, you too. Have a good evening. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.